Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to I'm Not Repeating Myself podcast. I'm your host, Mike, and I hope you heard what I said the first time because I'm not repeating myself. Glad everybody can be with me on this good Monday. Excuse me. Hope everybody had a good weekend. I know I did. Please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. I'm on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok as well. Doesn't cost nothing for y'all to do that for me. So thank y'all again for tapping in with me. We 15 episodes in on this thing, man. 15 straight weeks, boy. Time to wait on nobody, man. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into this shit, man. So if you remember last week, I spoke about the Drought 3 dropping on DSPs, the greatest mixtape of all time. From my greatest rapper of all time, Lil Wayne. And then I was speaking about other mixtapes that need to go ahead and drop on DSPs as well. Well, actually, I think it was Monday or Tuesday. It had to be Monday or Tuesday for sure. Rick Ross, Rich Forever mixtape just appears on DSPs, middle of the night. Get up. I'm thinking to myself, man, I hope this shit ain't stepped on. I go through the track list. Track list looks good. Hit the play. That shit sound exactly. They got all the skits on there, the London skit, all that. Hit play. That shit sound just like how it did when it first came out. Man, that mixtape lasts 27 hours. They got that shit up out of here quickly. And I kind of been playing like a little countdown in my head for when the Drought 3 is gonna get clipped. So I'm getting as much plays out of the Drought 3 as I can before that shit comes down. Man, Rich Forever didn't last a week. That shit literally lasted 27 hours. I went to go play high definition because I've been killing high definition, bro. Killing high definition. And I went to go play that shit, and I said, man, you gotta be kidding me, bro. You gotta be kidding me. They got that shit the fuck up out of here quickly, man. This is what I'm saying. I don't know what the battle is with, artists trying to get their mixtapes on there, because anytime you see these artists, they might be in an interview, and the interviewer asks them about, yeah, man, when we gonna get such on DSPs? I remember they used to ask Wale all the time, like, bro, when you gonna get more about nothing on DSPs, da-da-da. He got it on there, but that shit stepped on. Like I said before, no ceilings on there, stepped on. There's a few guys whose mixtapes not stepped on, though. You got Fabulous with the Soul Tape series. That shit is good. Everything is on there. You got Lloyd Banks. Lloyd Banks dropped Cold Corner 1 and 2 on DSPs. Those are not stepped on. So I don't know what it is. I know there's something that they can do to make sure that all these shits get on here with no problem. Because, like I said, when the Drought 3 dropped, they dropped Dedication. Now Dedication is off of there. I don't know if that's a Drama or Lil Wayne thing. I want to say it's probably a DJ Drama thing. But, man, Rich Fev is one of the best mixtapes ever, too, man. Like, when it comes, like, 2012 alone, as far as the 2010s, might have been the best single year for music alone. If you go back and you look at 2012, in that 2010s decade, we got classic albums, we got classic mixtapes, and this shit really topped the year off. This shit came out like January, if I'm not mistaken, of 2012. This shit came out, let me see. Yep, it came out January 6th, 2012, so right out the gates. And, man, you talk about just impact, and this is right before he gave us God Forgives I Don't. I mean, you got Holy Ghost out the gate. High Definition, MMG, Untouchable, Yellow Diamonds, Fucking with 2 Chainz and Wale. You got the London skit, Triple Beam Dreams, Mind Games, New Bugatti, Keys to the Crib, and of course you got Stay Scheming on there. Like, we all know what Stay Scheming did when we first heard that. Shout out to Drake for one of the best one-liners. But man, this, like, again, if you go back and you look at 2012, go look at what came out 2012. That is the single best year for rap in the 2010s, bro. Hands down. Go back and look at 2012. It was a lot of classic shit. But, man, put Rich Feather back on DSPs. I didn't get enough spins on that shit, man. I really did. I didn't get enough spins, man. I was killing High Definition. And Yellow Diamonds, those two was probably my favorite. Of course, State Scheming is like the consensus favorite. But, man, that fucking Yellow Diamonds and High Definition? That's that shit right there. Ross was definitely on a different level when he kicked down the door that year. And you got to think, too, like, we got God Forgives I Don't, I want to say August. So all of this was a lead up, and God Forgives I Don't didn't disappoint neither. So Rick Ross really had a point to prove that year. For you to kick down the door, that's kind of bold. Because the niggas is probably anticipating something the rest of that year. For you to drop a mixtape in January, that nigga delivered, bro. That nigga delivered. But man, yeah, I want to go ahead and start off with that because I was like, man, bro, you can at least give niggas a week. You couldn't give niggas a full week. A week would have been fine. I would have been all right. I'm not gonna get too excited because I already know y'all gonna clip this shit. But you could have gave niggas a week, man. That's all. You could have gave niggas a week. I wasn't even tripping off that. But shout out to Rick Ross again for one of the best mixtapes ever to drop. Definitely one of my favorites. It got some accolades too. Like this mixtape was named third best by Complex in 2012, the 45th best by Rolling Stone. In October 2013, Complex named it seventh best hip hop mixtape of the last 5 years. So it definitely got it's just due in hip hop media certain outlets. So, and of course, if you listen to this, you better had already. You shouldn't even be tuning into this podcast if you never heard Rich Forever by Rick Ross. I don't even talk to niggas who have not listened to that. If you're not listening to the right podcast, if you haven't listened to Rich Forever by Rick Ross. So again, shout out to Rick Ross, man. Y'all please get that shit back on there. I greatly appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. So next up, we got Cardi B. Cardi B dropped a new single called Imaginary Playerz. So we all know Cardi B has been highly anticipated as far as dropping the album. You know, she's been going through a lot over these last it's been like 7-8 years since she last dropped the album, which was Invasion of Privacy 2018. And everybody was just like, you know, where's the album? Where's the album? She seems to be so much focused on, you know, fashion, makeup, just the entertainment aspect of her persona and everything like that. And I spoke about that. This is probably episode 4 or 5 when I spoke about when she was talking about going live against Atlantic because, you know, they was playing games with her album. I'm like, man, listen, they're not playing games with your album. You haven't been putting out music for 7 years. You didn't give us an album in 7 years. So they have no reason to make you a priority. You are the artist. You're supposed to be putting out music. So then a couple of weeks after that, maybe a week after, she had this rollout for her new album coming out September 19th, which is Am I the Drama? Good rollout, very dope. She already got a couple of tracks on there from 5 years ago that we heard. You had Up, WAP with Meg, and then she dropped a new single called Outside. Outside was cool. It was a cool record. And then I think over the last week and a half, there was rumors about, you know, her rapping over a Jay-Z sample. And everybody trying to figure out what it was. And then it was rumors about it being Imaginary Playerz. She dropped a snippet on Friday, early Friday. It had to have been 10, 12 in the morning, you know, with Imaginary Playerz beat playing in the background, her walking off the private jet, pulling up to the private jet. And everybody was, you know, giving their opinion on what they think she was going to do with the beat and all that. And me personally, I felt like Cardi was going to do good on this beat. I really did. Dropped Friday, saw the video, dope video, heard the record, and I'm honestly say I think it was a good record. I really do. The only critique I have about the record is just her flow on that beat. Her flow on that beat could have been better. It definitely could have been better, but the bars was there. You know, again, I like the visual, I like the video, but she definitely had the bars. She had the bars for sure on that record. I'm not gonna play and act like she didn't get busy on that track. She really did get busy on the track, but just as far as her flow could have been better. I just felt like she probably, when she reviewed it, she probably could have went back because that's a beat you can't be playing around on it. Not saying that she wasn't playing around, she probably just couldn't catch it. You know what I'm saying? That happens sometimes, but overall, I think it was a good record. I don't think it's nothing that's going to be a hit or nothing like that. I think that was a record for her to kind of just basically talk her shit. If you listen to the record, if you know Imaginary Playerz by Jay-Z, you know that's just that talking shit record. For Hov, that just became a hit for him because it was just that major. For Cardi, though, I won't say it probably won't. I don't think it'll be a hit, but I think this was one of the tracks that she wanted to get out there to basically just pop her shit. I think it was a great video. I do love the video. The video was fitting for her. You know, the visuals for what she was talking about, the way she was popping her shit on the record. It definitely was a dope video. But just as far as the bars and everything, she definitely had the bars on the record. But just as far as that flow, when it comes to certain beats, I feel like when you approach certain records and you have a certain type of beat, you really have to, some things you might have to, how can I say, turn the attribute bar up on different sliders. Like, so for Imaginary Playerz, you gotta make sure that your flow is on point. You get what I'm saying? If it's another type of beat, probably where it's kind of like, how can I say? I can't really think off the top of my head right now. Just save time. But it's definitely one of those beats where you can't be caught lacking. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really gotta flow with it because it just got that bop to it. You get what I'm saying? So again, shout out to Cardi, man, because I want to give her credit. I have been highly critical of her. I'd be a liar to get on here and say that this record was trash. It wasn't trash. It wasn't trash. It was a good flip. It definitely was fitting for her and her persona. And like I said, I do like the bars that she had on it. Like, your flop and my flops are not the same. If y'all did my if y'all did my numbers, you would pop champagne. If I did y'all numbers, I'd jump off the plane. Like, that was witty. I like that. I fuck with that. I fuck with that. So I'm interested to see what else she has coming from this. Because like I said, this album, if you go to it on Apple Music, it's 23 tracks. 23 tracks. And I've always said this. When you start tapping into over 15, don't give me a bunch of filler on that shit. Don't give me no filler on this album. I want to make every track should be fitting for a reason when you start tapping into that 20 range, because like I said, 12 to 15, that's the perfect fit in my opinion. I feel like for any album, 12 to 15, if you look over the course of history, most of the best albums are in that 12 to 15 track range. So when you start tapping into the 20 range, you got to make sure shit is hitting, because you want to keep your audience attention as well. If they scrolling through it, and I kind of spoke about this last week on Gunna's album, when you start tapping into that 20 to 30 range, 25 range, and you kind of feel like, okay, I'm gonna throw 3-4 tracks on there that kind of sound the same. No, don't do that. Don't do that. But I'm gonna give it a benefit of the doubt. Like I said, I haven't heard it yet. This album is slated to come out again on September 19th. But again, salute to Cardi B, man. That was a dope record. That was a dope record. I do like the flip. It's better from what others I've heard before when it came to flipping old records. Some of that other shit that I seen, I felt like was kind of lazy. You know, just you didn't really put no effort. I could tell that she put some effort into this record. I could really tell. Like I said, the best thing about this whole rollout was the video. I fuck with the video. The video definitely was fire. And shout out to Jay for clearing that. At the end of the day, like I said, the bars was definitely there. She had the bars, but all you gotta do is just clean up the flow. That's all you had to do is clean up the flow. So, moving on. Next up, we got Lucian finally responded to this whole Drake lawsuit against UMG. Now, for those who followed me before when I was on my previous podcast, the only time I really spoke about this when the lawsuit first came out, which was in November, I believe, early November, October, somewhere around there. And my stance was, this shit is trash. Like, get this out of here. Like, you suing all because you felt like, your ego is bruised because you lost this battle. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, get this shit out of here. I thought this lawsuit would have been thrown out months ago. The only reason why I haven't been speaking on it, because I'm the type, when it comes to shit like this, everything is, people act like as if we're getting updates consistently that is meaningful. I'm not one of those that want to nitpick at everything, but being that Lucian responded to this, I did feel like it was necessary for me to comment on, because he's the head of UMG. You definitely got to speak on when the head of the record label is finally speaking on this. But I never really wanted to be the one to be the first to rush to something, try to make something bigger than what it is. I honestly didn't want to speak on this shit until it was completely over. That's really where I was at with it. I'm like, bro, I really don't want to speak about this shit. I really don't until it's completely over. But dog, we are here, man. We are here. So Lucian finally spoke out against this. So basically, Drake's claim is that they inflated Not Like Us to pretty much devalue him and lowball him on a new deal. From my understanding, speaking from other people's looking up the claims and everything like that. That's basically the gist of his lawsuit, right? In my opinion, I don't believe none of that to be true. If you listen to Drake's records over the last couple years, mainly on Her Loss, he spoke about the 400M deal. He spoke about the 400M deal on CLB. He spoke about it specifically on Major Distribution, I believe, about him recouping that 400M deal and everything like that. And that album came out 2022. So my whole thing is this, before I go ahead and read into this. To me, it didn't make sense that UMG, and I still have the same stance, that UMG would want to conspire against Drake to devalue him. And I'm gonna speak on something that I noticed later on after I finished reading those playing into why I believe that this shit didn't devalue him at all. It just doesn't make sense for them to want to use Not Like Us to devalue him when over the course of a decade they supported him, they put money in his pockets, of course they promoted him. They done everything basically that a label should do. You know what I'm saying? I know Drake's team, they've been more than open to share their side, provide whatever information. He's been asking for information about certain things. Of course, also with wanting to see Kendrick Lamar's contract, all this. This whole thing just doesn't make sense, and it shouldn't have been done off the heels of a battle. Had this been outside of a battle setting, I would be with Drake as far as this lawsuit. If a nigga just had a record on some one-off shit calling him a pedo, I would be with Drake on this. But in this particular, I just can't get with it. I don't see it, bro. Grainge writes that claims that I was behind a scheme to devalue Drake's brand through the release and promotion of Kendrick Lamar's record Not Like Us, an allegation that makes no sense due to the fact that the company that I run, Universal Music Group, has invested hundreds of millions of dollars in Drake, including long-standing and critical financial support for his recording career, the purchase and ownership of bulk of his recording catalog, and the purchase of his music publishing rights. He adds that makes no sense whatever, that he was in the weeds as to release any promotion of any particular sound recording from the thousands of UMG releases throughout the world. Considering his role leading a publicly traded multi-billion-dollar multinational corporation whose operations is in over 60 countries covering nearly 200 markets, he calls Drake's claims of his involvement farcical. Grainge concluded, given my role, I am accustomed, and unfortunately largely resigned, in parentheses, to personal attacks, and I further recognize that a frequent strategy of UMG's litigation opponents is to attempt to waste my and UMG's time and resources with discovery of the sort that Drake is seeking here, either in an attempt to gain media attention or in an effort to force some kind of commercial recognition or financial concessions. He asserts, given Drake's motion, I would like to make it quite clear that I had never heard the recording Not Like Us, nor ever saw the corresponding cover art or music video until after they were released by Interscope Records. As a part of my role, I certainly have financial oversight of responsibility of UMG's global businesses. The proposition that I was involved in, much less responsible for reviewing and approving the content of Not Like Us, is cover art or music video for determining or directing the promotion of those materials is groundless and indeed ridiculous. And I agree. I agree with Lucian. Let me see. In a separate letter, the company writes that Drake's motion is a transparent attempt to use discovery to harass UMG and force to waste its time and resources out of spite. Let me see. The premise of Drake's motion that he could have lost a rap battle unless it was the product of some imagined secret conspiracy going to top of UMG's corporate structure is absurd. Sir Lucian is the CEO of multinational enterprise. His days are spent determining and implementing global strategy, not vetting individual tracks or album covers or driving the release and promotional plans for any one recording. And even if Sir Lucian had any responsive documents, they would surely be captured by discovery from UMG's other document custodians who are actually responsible for releasing and promoting Not Like Us. Drake does not come close to meeting his burden of showing that Sir Lucian must be a custodian. His motion should be denied. And this is how this is how I felt when it first came out. Like, this shit should be thrown out. I don't believe for 1 second that UMG conspired against Drake to devalue him. This is not me, you supporting the machine and all. I'm outside looking in. I'm not inside. I'm just applying my logic with what I believe. And what people have to understand is all of us outside looking in are all going based off of the information we have, and at the end of the day, what we believe. I just don't believe that UMG was doing this. I don't. If I'm wrong, I have no problem again with anything else coming on here and saying that I'm wrong. Now, what I will say, I am surprised that it is dragging out this long. It is right because we all know buying records and all that other shit, it is illegal. It is illegal. Now, also, it would be interesting because if they did buy the record, this couldn't have been their first time. You're not gonna tell me since Drake has been under UMG for 10 plus decades, that now they decide with Not Like Us, they decide to, buy the record because they're in the middle of negotiations for a new contract. I don't believe that. But if they prove that to be true and he wins this case, I have no problem walking back what I said. I just don't find it believable. I don't. I honestly don't. This is nothing against Drake. Drake is one of my favorite rappers of all time. But as far as this, I don't like this lawsuit. Again, had this been outside of a battle setting, I would be with Drake on this because, dog, you just making a one-off record calling me a pedo. We not doing this. What people have to understand and remember is he introduced that angle on Taylor Made. I don't know why that keeps getting lost in all of this. Like, it wasn't like, and again, first of all, this is a battle setting. Let's understand. There's no rules in this battle setting. He introduced that angle on Taylor Made, though. He introduced that angle. Again, this keeps getting lost when I see a lot of people defending Drake in this. Bro, you said, speaking in Pac's AI voice, talk about me liking little girls. I heard on Button Podcast. Must be true. Like, bro, you basically gave him the alley-oop to use that angle on his diss record. You just got out-angled, dog. You got out-strategized. That was my stance in November. This still my stance is now. I don't really see nothing that's really changing it. Again, the fact that this is dragging out this long, it may play in his favor because if I'm a judge and I'm looking at this, I'm like, bro, get this out of here. Get this out of here. So I don't know what may be playing in their favor that could, kind of sway him. But usually if something like this is dragging out, they're seeing something that may give him grounds to have a case. Whether that be the botting. If it's the botting and they was botting the record and that gives him the W, okay, cool. Ultimately, I still don't like it because I truly believe this is a waste of time. And when you go into a battle setting, I don't care what the angles is. I don't give a fuck about the angles because at the end of the day, both these niggas is mudslinging. You calling him a woman beater. And again, we all know being called a pedo is worse than a woman beater. But at the end of the day, y'all both was mudslinging. Both niggas was mudslinging. I don't believe during your negotiations that they wanted to wait 3 years after, 2 years after, that they got with Kendrick Lamar was like, yeah, bro, like he asking for $1 billion, so we need you to go ahead and make a diss record calling him a pedo. So I'm like, no, bro, that don't make sense. It just don't make sense to me. Again, has nothing to do with Drake as a rapper, as an artist. Drake is still top 3 favorite rapper for me all time. But as far as this lawsuit, it's some bullshit to me. It really is. It really is. And if I'm proven wrong, I'll get on here and say I was wrong. I was wrong, bro. But this, all of this is just, I truly believe it's a waste of time and resources. Whatever he's seeking, if he wins out and it might be honestly the biggest win in hip hop history as far as a case of this type of level. Because we never seen no shit like this in rap. We never seen no shit like this in rap. We never seen it. And being the fact that, and again, this has nothing just because Lucian has spoken on it swayed my opinion. I had the same stance that basically Lucian had. When you talking about the head of a corporation of that level, those guys don't really be on the ground floors when it comes to shit like this. All they do is just sign checks and they name automatically be on there. They got the technology's advanced now. But all he does is pretty much sign the checks. I don't believe UMG, and some people would say, well, it's probably not him directly. Okay, cool. You got people under Lucian who have high power too. But for them to be in bed with each other this long, they gave you 400 M's. You're probably seeking 500 or more, which I believe Drake, off his name alone, is worth way more than 400, 500 M's. That's just my opinion. I believe the nigga worth $1 billion. If he was to go independent, I think Drake could do $1 billion just off his name alone. That's how valuable he is. But in terms of the negotiation aspect, we all know this is just like sports athletes. I'm gonna use sports athletes because that's what I pay attention to as far as negotiations. Every team is trying to get a bargain on their star player. Now, you do have in most cases where teams, they go ahead and take care of their player before, they start even having rumblings about contract talks. They go ahead and they lock them up. And they give them their true value. Some even kill them. Some people even just blow through the market. We've seen when sports athletes, in basketball and football, they blow through whatever the top value is at a position. I'll use, for example, let's say hypothetically speaking, a wide receiver, the highest paid wide receiver was getting 30. We've seen a wide receiver come in this example and get 40. Blew the market off the top, set a new market value for that top 2-3 at that position. I look at it the same for this. Now, Drake's initial deal is to be one of the richest that we've seen in music recording history, the 400M, the initial 400M. But when you go for renegotiation and you're probably seeking 500M to $1 billion, because I don't know exactly what he's asking for, of course, no record label really wants to go and give you that much money over whatever the time period is. That's just a lot of money, period, and it's never been done. So I can understand them wanting to kind of, maybe not give him what he's looking for. Let me go ahead and look this up real quick as far as Drake's deal with UMG is widely considered one of the largest in music history, potentially the largest. The deal, reportedly worth around $400 million, encompasses recordings, publishing, merchandise, and visual media project. Is often described as a LeBron-sized deal due to its scope and value. The value, 400 M's, the scope. It is a 360 deal on steroids, meaning it covers various revenue streams beyond just music sales. Market power, Drake's influence in the music industry and his ability to command such a deal highlight his market power, according to Variety. Prior to Drake's deal, Michael Jackson's estate held the record for the largest deal with Sony Music. With the exact details of the deal haven't been fully disclosed, it is clear that Drake secured a very lucrative and expansive partnership with UMG. Let me see. Yeah, man. So if he recruit that deal, I can understand them now coming back and be like, yeah, bro, we gave you the 400 M's, but if you seeking more than that, we might have to try to get you at a bargain, because there was rumors that Sony offered him 500 M. So I don't know. And most of the time, also with this whole Masters thing, because I wanted to read up on that too. While Drake has a major record deal with UMG, it's a licensing agreement, not an outright sale of his masters. This means UMG licenses Drake's music for a set period, but he retains ownership of master recordings. The deal, reportedly worth $400 million, includes recordings, publishing, merchandise, and visual media projects. So also, while this honestly might be, when you're talking about that large of a number, 400 M, for him to retain his masters too is also a big deal in this, because most of the time, a lot of record labels they want to own the masters when they're giving you this substantial deal. But again, with Drake being with Universal for damn near almost going on 20 years, bro, because he was under Young Money, which is also under Universal. For him to be there, and everything post Scorpion has been directly under UMG. Scorpion was the last album under Cash Money as well. So being the fact that he did get the 400 M, he does retain ownership of his masters. That again plays into my reasoning of why UMG has no reason to conspire against him. That's a fairly friendly deal for an artist. A lot of the times, the only other time you really seen a deal where an artist was to retain their masters was Birdman. When Birdman signed for that 30, and you got to think, in 1998, signing for $30 million, that was unheard of, and he retained his masters. And Birdman always spoke on that when he went and sat on any platform. When he did interviews, he spoke about that. Like, hey, we wanted ownership. We went to Universal. Yeah, I signed for 30 M, but we own all our masters. That was unheard of. They wasn't giving out. I think him and P probably was like really the only ones who was getting a deal like that at that time. So, throughout the games, record companies, they play games. They throw in little things to kind of like keep the artist under shackles, shit like that. But for Drake to get a 400 M deal, and again, I'm not no lawyer expert when it comes to music. I'm just applying my logic here. Everything I'm saying is not law. I'm just going based off of the facts of what I'm seeing by doing my proper research. But everything as far as giving my opinion on this is just based off of what I seen and my logic. But again, for Drake to get this type of deal and retain his masters, I'm trying to figure out what does UMG gain by trying to devalue him. Also, segue into my next point of this whole devalue thing. So if everybody's saying that Not Like Us devalued him, it tarnished his name, I don't believe that shit. I haven't seen it. Drake is still touring. He's still doing shows. He's still selling out. His fan base is still next to him. NFL also, this is very important. NFL also earlier this year did another OVO collab for jackets. NFL is one of the biggest corporations in the world. Why would NFL get in bed with Drake if they truly believe that he's a pedophile? That doesn't make sense to me. They just did this collab in January. Let me see. I'm gonna go look this up real quick because I did see that. Yeah, this was in January. No, December actually. Yep. So you could go look this up too as well. But I found that very, very interesting that NFL and OVO striked a new deal in this whole collaboration. Drake's OVO hit the gridiron with the NFL with the release of his second collaborative capsule collection. Rounding out the winter 2024 season, the new collection features an array of co-branded sportswear essentials for some of NFL's teams. Come on, bro. Again, yeah, this was December 19th, 2024. So this is right after he had this lawsuit and all this. You got to think, Not Like Us came out in May. And we all know that had to be a hefty check. That had to be a hefty check. How Drake feels about the record is how Drake feels about the record. I'm not here to tell that man how he's supposed to feel about the record. I'm just telling you this perception that his value is somewhat been driven down. He took a hit. Now, he could have took a hit feelings-wise. But as far as deals, notoriety, shows, music, he just dropped the album with Party in February, and that shit went platinum. What hit is Drake taking? What value is lost? I truly believe if Drake was to go to any other company, or if he was to go independent, because I feel like he should have went independent anyway, but that's a conversation for another day. That nigga can do historical numbers dolo. He could do historical numbers under another record label. So this notion that his value is being driven down because of Not Like Us, bruh, the fact of the matter is, we had one of the biggest battles in rap history, and Drake just came on the short end of the stick. That's it. Again, both these niggas was mudslinging. Family Matters, you calling him a woman beater. Not Like Us, he calling you and your team pedos. But I think it was just, I don't care about the angles. I care about whose angle was better, who executed better. And Kendrick Lamar came out on top. That just is what it is. But as far as the whole pedo angle, I am really, and again, because I'm ready for this case to wrap up. And I don't want to drag this out any much longer. I just wanted to speak on this because Lucian finally spoke on it. But I'm definitely interested to see how they play their side. How do they present that UMG, yes, indeed, botted this record to devalue Drake and lowball him on a new deal? That's what I'm interested. And if they prove that, again, I'll get on this podcast and be like, hey, Drake, I was wrong, brother. You got it. This is just giving my honest, unbiased opinion on this whole situation. Whole situation, bro. Because I just don't see it, dog. I don't see it. I don't see it, bro. I don't. So that's pretty much all Lucian had to say about it. Of course, we'll get this. I hope this might drag out into next year. Hopefully, it don't drag out into next year because again, I feel like this is a case that should have been wrapped up long time ago, long time ago, bro. I didn't see a situation to where, this should have been dragged out this long. I thought the judge honestly was gonna look at this shit laughing. I'm like, bro, get this out of here, bro. You're only doing this because you lost a battle. It really doesn't hold no grounds, but we'll see where we go from here on that. So that's pretty much all I got on that. So next up, Sean Kingston. Sean Kingston got sentenced to 3.5 years in prison over fraud scheme. Singer Sean Kingston was sentenced to 3.5 years in the prison over his $1 million wire fraud trial in South Florida, according to Associated Press and NBC. The 35-year-old, whose real name is Kashawn Anderson, was initially found guilty of wire fraud in March alongside his mother, Janice Turner. In July, she was sentenced to 5 years of prison and 3 years probation. In March, both were found guilty, 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and 4 counts of wire fraud. Each charge carried a maximum of 20 years in prison. Early this week, Kingston and his lawyers asked the judge to consider home confinement due to the nonviolent nature of the crime and the fact that Kingston had paid most of the victims back. Kingston is best known for 2007 hit Beautiful Girls, which topped the Billboard Hot 100. Throughout his career, he released 4 albums and collaborated with artists including Bieber, Nicki Minaj, and Chris Brown. Kingston and Turner were arrested in May 2024 on theft charges following a SWAT raid on his South Florida mansion. The raids came after Kingston was hit with a lawsuit for allegedly not paying for luxury items. 2 months later, the pair were indicted in Miami federal court and charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and 4 counts of wire fraud. Prosecutors accused him of defrauding victim sellers of high-end specialty vehicles, jewelry, and other goods brought with fraudulent documents. They stated that the pair would make payments through banks that never actually went through, allowing them to accrue more than $1 million in property. Stupid. Again, I spoke about this fraud shit a few weeks ago with Marcus Morris. I know this is on a different level, a different setting, but ultimately it's just, and it always be the ones who always had something going on, like music artists, shit like that. Unless these niggas was down bad, I don't know. I'm not counting Sean Kingston pockets, but for you to come up over an M, excuse me, I want to say that Sean Kingston pretty much has made over $1 million in his career, and him and his mom, and also I heard Sean Kingston's mother this is not her first rodeo. So this is even more like, come on, bro. Like, you playing with fire. You asked for this. You get what I'm saying? Like, this fraud shit has to stop, bro. Like, you're never gonna come out on top of it. You're never gonna come out on top of it, bro. These feds, you basically giving them the alley-oop. They be watching y'all. They see what's going on. These bank transactions got magnifying glasses on it. Magnifying glasses. They red flagging shit. You got people complaining, and the fact that you paid people back, you know you was doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing. Simple as that. So, I don't know. I don't know what Sean Kingston's future is. Get back to making some music, bro. But, I mean, his time might have passed. I haven't heard nothing really from Sean Kingston in years. Like, I don't want to say it's been since 2007. Like I said, he had a couple of collaborative tracks with artists post 2007. Excuse me. But other than that, I haven't really heard dog making too much noise as far as music. I really haven't. So whatever it is, do something that's legal, niggas. That's all I got to say. Cause my whole thing be this, especially when it comes to music artists, we have too many examples of people taking their rap money and turning it into something else. Meaning something that's legal and continues to make them money. You don't have to fraud people. You don't have to scam people. You got Jay-Z as an example. You got Rihanna as an example. We could go to sports. You got Shaq. You got Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James. Like, bro, simply take your music money and go put that into a business. You already have a lot of leverage because of your name. So you have the resources to get with people who know what they're doing as well. You have the funds. So I don't know why you just won't take that steps instead of going this route, frauding people, scamming people. Now your ass get caught up. You got to pay the money back, and you taking your ass to jail, and your mama going to jail. And you probably was a breadwinner for your family, so now your family looking at you like, damn, bro, what the fuck? Dumb shit, bro. All you got to do is just do shit the right way. I have no sympathy for people who scam and fraud, bro. I don't. You deserve whatever jail time you get behind that because it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary, bro. It's stupid as fuck. Stupid as fuck. So that's pretty much all I got for that. But that was just more so funny to me. So kind of segueing on to something else that kind of is under the same tree. Michael Porter Jr. has kind of been on a run this past 2-3 weeks. You know, he was speaking out against his brother, basically kind of playing his brother in interviews, speaking about this betting shit, everything that's going on. I don't know, bro. It seemed like ever since he got traded to the Nets, he has been very, very vocal. I don't know if this is kind of like a reaction to him getting traded, but I haven't seen Michael Porter Jr. speak this much. I really haven't. This nigga's been speaking a lot lately. He's been speaking a lot. I'm going to go ahead and play this clip when he's talking about sports betting.
The sports gambling stuff can affect that a lot.
100%.
Think about it.
There you go.
You get mad at these dudes like like
that don't pay your
that do
parlay.
the sports betting. But think about if you could get all your homies rich by telling them, yo,
no shit,
bet $10,000 on my under. You know, this one game I'm gonna act like I got an injury, and I'm gonna sit out. I'm gonna come out after 3 minutes, and they all get a little bag because you did it one game. Like that is so not okay. But some people probably think like that. They come from nothing, and
100%.
all their homies have nothing,
100%.
and they're like, bro, if I come out of this game after 3 minutes and y'all all hit on my under, we're all getting a little bag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I obviously my brother went through his situation. You know, Malik Beasley's going through a situation right now. Terry Rozier was in some hot water. Terry Rozier was in some hot water. But the whole sports gambling like entity, bro, it's bad, and it's only gonna get worse, bro. Like we really do get death threats. Like if you and the thing is you can't.
Somebody doesn't hit a parlay.
Crazy part is you can't win anymore because if I do too good, I'm messing up the people that bet on the under. And if they bet on my over, like, you know what I'm saying? So you're messing up some people's money. Who if they bet on your under or over, you're messing up some people's.
And you know what's crazy? You think about this? It's only in probably 13 states right now.
Well, no, I've never. Have you ever You've obviously gotten DM before, like, you fucked my parlay.
Bro, what? Do you remember who was the dude in the football playoffs that missed the catch in the end zone?
Yeah.
What was his name? He played on the.
Was it this past year?
Yeah, the past year, and he missed the catch. You know what I'm talking about? It was like he had that catch right in the end zone. He's like one of the best tight ends.
Andrews.
His social media. Think about how much money. That's real death. The sports.
Bro, let me say this. Players who do that shit is on whole shit. Point blank, period. If you a player playing in a sport and you trying to, get into this gambling shit, again, I said this with Malik Beasley. Bro, bet on another sport. Don't bet on the sport that you play. You're not going to come out on top of this shit. These leagues are watching. And I don't know why the fuck Michael Porter Jr. getting on a podcast talking about it, because now you're going to have more eyes on you. It's stupid. You talking about you can make your homies rich. My nigga, give your niggas the 10K and go tell them invest in something. Don't give these niggas 10K and talking about play it on my unders. Nigga, are you fucking stupid? That ain't going to make these niggas rich, contrary to popular belief. I don't know what the fuck you niggas think. This is not a movie, my nigga. It's not. And you're going to get caught. If you want to make your friends rich, give them some money to invest in some shit that they could be starting on a business. All this taking money and betting on the unders, betting on the over, at the end of the day, somebody got to lose. That's not my problem as a player. My job is to go out here and play the game the best way that I can play it. Point blank, period. Because what's going to end up happening is we're going to get to a point where they're just going to completely shut the whole shit down. Now nobody can make no fucking money. How about that? Now, some people say, oh, no, that probably would never happen. Bruh, we in 2025 now. Anything is possible. I done seen some shit over the last 2-3 years that I thought I would never see. But they're going to start revising contracts with NBA players. All this shit, it's gonna get nasty because they're gonna start cracking down for real. They're not playing with these niggas. Niggas gonna end up getting banned for life the moment you find out you doing anything connected to sports gambling in the sport that you play. And niggas think this shit funny. This shit not funny. I'm not a gambling person. I don't do parlays. I got some homies who do parlays. And this is not me ranting against parlays. I don't care about parlays. Do your parlays. I'm talking about the players who want to go out there and manipulate the game. For 10 racks? That might not even turn to whatever you want it to turn into. It ain't worth it, bro. You already making most of these niggas is already making generational money, especially in the NBA. NBA niggas be making generational money on contracts that are not even max contracts. A 3-year, $100 million contract is not a max contract no more. A 4-year deal, $70 million. Bro, most previous NBA players never made $70 million in their fucking career. Some of them made $30 million in their career. You niggas making generational money when they give your mans a 10K to bet on your fucking under. Now you getting banned from the league and all your money going. Now, some of these niggas may have problems, gambling problems. True and so deed. I'm talking about the motherfuckers who ain't got a problem and they trying to get over on the system. Them the niggas I have a problem with. I don't want no niggas like that on my personal team. Because again, I'm not a gambler. The only type of betting I do is the niggas get to popping that shit about my team. And I be like, bro, put 100 on it. I don't do all that. Oh, bet the spread and all that other shit. I don't do shit like that. I just don't do parlays and all that shit. To me, because it's pointless. It's 50-50. You either gonna win or you gonna lose. I don't play the odds and all that other shit. I don't do that because to me, it doesn't make sense. But Michael Porter Jr. speaking on this shit is very dangerous. It's dangerous, and this nigga better be mindful. Because these motherfuckers is cracking down, bro. They not playing with you niggas. They not playing with you niggas. Across all boards. I spoke about this with Gilbert. I spoke about this with Morris, Malik Beasley again, Terry Rozier. If you making generational money, you're not going to make that much money fucking betting on yourself. You're not. We haven't seen nobody do it. It's not going to happen. The only thing you're going to do is end up getting fucking caught because they got scopes on y'all niggas in every fucking game. They investigating this shit. And they ain't got to tell y'all niggas. Y'all doing the work for them. So you niggas better tighten the fuck up. And just stop it, bro. Just stop. Stop. Giving your home. Imagine you get your man's 10K. Nigga, give your man's 20K. Give your man's 10K and let him go start a fucking business. Whatever it is may be. But you can't bet on my unders. You can't bet on my over, dog. And don't text me and ask me about that shit prior to no game. Because I'm not getting caught up in your bullshit. And anybody who's a friend of an athlete, shouldn't we even want that for them? That's just thinking fucking backwards. It's stupid as fuck. It's stupid. If you got a friend, a close friend who's a sports athlete, making generational money, why would you want to risk your friend's generational money for a fucking parlay? You're not a real friend. You're not. Y'all should be collaborating on some other shit to make some money. Betting is not the way. It's simply not. So just enough of that shit. Enough. Just knock it the fuck off. Niggas is playing a dangerous fucking game for no reason. So next up, man, I want to talk about Cam Ward. Cam Ward has been playing some good football this preseason so far, man. Salute Cam Ward, man. I see why he was the number one overall pick. You know, he was a consensus number one pick prior to the draft. And also with that, Cam Ward has been the least talked about number one overall draft pick I've ever seen. By far. Like, he's not getting no type of coverage for real at all. You know, all the eyes is on Shador, what he's doing in Cleveland. You know, I got no issues with dog, you know, super to him, but we talk about the number one overall pick versus the 5th round pick. Number one overall pick has been playing good football in preseason so far, and he should be getting far more coverage than what he's getting. I do believe Cam Ward to be rookie of the year. I think he is in prime position to really set the Titans up for success further in the future. But just looking at some of the throws he's been making in preseason so far, some of the wide receivers got to help him out, though. You got to catch some passes. But and his pocket presence, he looks very comfortable in the pocket, and that's not really normal for a rookie. A lot of rookies, they get jittery, you know, kind of nervous. Cam looks very, very comfortable. But again, he lives and breathes football. Like, if you watch Cam Ward and you see him in interviews, you saw him in the pre-draft, you saw him in the after the draft, even when they had their little thing in the all season when he was training with Shador and he was talking about, bro, I sleep, eat, drink, all football. That's all he does. His main focus is football. And I salute that because you could tell somebody he's very passionate about his craft and it's reflective in his game so far. Of course, he's going to make mistakes. He's a rookie. But I like what I'm seeing from Cam so far, man. His accuracy is looking very, very good. His pocket presence is looking very, very good. And that's not really normal for a lot of rookie quarterbacks, especially at the quarterback position. He's hitting the ground running. So I want to give him his proper just due, his props, because Cam Ward is really doing his thing, man. I want to salute him. Salute the Cam, man. Salute the Cam. Keep doing your thing, bro. Other NFL news, James Cook finally signed his extension. If you saw a few weeks ago, Kyron Williams he re-signed with the Rams on a new deal. I think he got $11 million a season, I want to say. Yeah, Kyron Williams signed a 3-year, $33 million deal. Now, there was rumors that James Cook was seeking over $15 million, somewhere around $20 million. You wasn't going to get that, bro. So I was like, bro, you need to go ahead and take that deal, bro. You need to go ahead and, because when Kyron signed for that kind of much, it killed all that $15 million a year. So he signed a 4-year, $48 million deal, and he got $30 million up front. That's a great deal. That's a great deal especially for a running back, bro. Buffalo Bills running back James Cook signed a 4-year, $46 million deal on Wednesday, ending the holdout. For the upcoming season, he is a cash $10.3 million, which is part of his huge $9 million signing bonus. The deal includes $15 million guaranteed at signing, with $5 million of his 2026 compensation locked in right now. So in 2025, he'll make $10 million. 2026, he'll make 10. 2027, he'll make 9. 2028, he'll make 10. 2029, he'll make 11. So his average per year is like $12 million, which I saw. It's a good deal. It's a good deal for him, man. Honestly, because Cook, he wasn't going to see that. He wasn't going to see that 15. He wasn't going to see that. And I'm all for dudes getting their money. I'm all for guys betting on themselves. I'm a James Cook fan. I think he's a very, very good running back. Obviously, top 10 running back in the NFL. And this works out for both sides because the Bills definitely need to re-sign him. They definitely need to re-sign him. He's a huge weapon for the Bills. He's part of the big reason why Josh Allen does what he does. And as far as, giving him somewhat a security blanket as far as the running game. So that was dope to see James Cook do that. Other NFL news, you still got the holdouts with Terry McLaurin, Micah Parsons. Cam Hayward also from the Steelers. He's seeking a new contract as well. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. Yeah, man, I'm just ready for this NFL season to get started, man. College football starts in a few weeks. We got Texas taking on Ohio State in the first game of the season, 1 versus 3 matchup. And I love the fact that we get in top 5 matchups, top 10 matchups early in the season because these niggas might end up seeing each other again with the new playoff format. The 12-team playoff format is amazing. It's beautiful. It works out because we can get matchups early in the year and these niggas can end up seeing each other again. So I really love the new playoff format. Again, it was implemented last year. We went from 4 to 12. So I'm definitely ready for this college football season, NFL season to kick off, man. It's going to be a great year. It's going to be a great year. So that's pretty much all I got this week, man. Again, I want to thank y'all for tapping in with me. Thank for y'all supporting me. Again, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I'm on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram as well. So please make sure you tap in with me on these platforms. Continue to help me run this thing up. I'm going to be here continuously running this thing up for y'all because ultimately it's what I love to do, man. It's what I love to do. Also, please make sure that your ass is getting in the gym. Please make sure you stay in the gym. Make sure you take care of your body. Put them sodas down. Put that alcohol down. Put that fast food down. Get your lazy ass in the gym, and your body will reward you for it. Trust me, it will. So, like I say every week, this is I'm Not Repeating Myself podcast. I'm your host, Mike, and I hope you heard what I said the first time because I'm not repeating myself. I'm out.